I don't make threats. I make promises, and I always keep them. Hi, my name is Alice Michelle. I'm 32, a contractor from Boston. I built my company from nothing but steel beams and stubborn grit. For years, my family treated me like their private bank account. They drained me dry, then smiled across Sunday dinners as if love was just another invoice waiting for my signature. At the lawyer's office, their mask finally slipped. Every dollar, every asset, every piece of their legacy, gone to Derek. My name didn't even stain the will. That was the moment I stopped being their daughter. That was the moment I became their reckoning. Before I take you back to where it all began, subscribe now. Because betrayal may be written in ink, but revenge is carved in stone. I grew up in a quiet Boston suburb that hid loud truths. From the sidewalk, we looked like a postcard family. Inside, love tilted toward my brother and never rebalanced. I was the checklist child. Grades, chores, quiet reliability. Derek was the headline. Charm, trouble, then another second chance. Attention gathered around him like moths finding their porch light. At my high school graduation, I was valedictorian and exhausted. We took photos, ate Applebee's, and called it a celebration. A $50 card slid across the table, polite and distant. 2 weeks later, Derek won regionals and fireworks appeared. Backyard crowded, cousins cheering. A new console wrapped in silver. It wasn't the money that hurt. It was the enthusiasm. My achievements were noted. His were paraded until midnight. College separated the story into 2 columns. Despite my scholarship, I still owed more than I had. I worked mornings at a coffee shop that smelled like possibility. Evenings shelving books at the library, whispering with tired students. Weekends swinging hammers for my uncle, blisters singing through gloves. I learned spreadsheets at 2 a.m. and ceilings at 6. I learned that hunger becomes fuel when no one feeds you. Derek attended a private university with mediocre grades and confidence. Tuition, housing, meal plan, even spending money, covered without hesitation. When I asked why, my father smiled with weary logic. Derek isn't as independent as you, Alice. He needs support. The sentence landed like a door locking from the outside. Independence became the reason they withheld what I'd earned. Care was recast as convenience. My strength excused their favoritism. Sunday dinners kept the script running year after year. Derek's newest venture filled the air like commercial breaks. My wins arrived last, then disappeared with the dishes. I drove home measuring silence by streetlights and steering wheel. Have you ever faced something like this? Tell me in the comments. I didn't need their money, I needed their fairness, and never got it. I built Michelle Contracting from leftovers and stubborn mornings. The first office was a sublease above a bait shop. Dust drifted through blinds like slow snow I couldn't afford. I slept on a mattress rolled behind filing cabinets. 80-hour weeks blurred into invoices, ladders, and borrowed coffee. I learned to read blueprints and people with equal care. My hands toughened, but I kept a soft ledger. Every dollar back into tools, crew, insurance, and one truck. Birthdays were punch lists, vacations were postponed deliveries. Meanwhile, Derek discovered a new purpose every season. He floated between jobs like a helium balloon losing air. Then he wanted a sports memorabilia store, shiny and certain. My parents remortgaged their house to fund his grand opening. $75,000, plus the kind of praise I never tasted. The shop died in 8 months. Excuses stacked higher than shelves. They called it bad timing, not bad habits. When my father's chest tightened, I answered without counting. $32,000 for surgery and weeks of recovery. I delayed equipment upgrades and slept in the office again. Gratitude came, but expectations stayed, humming like a generator. Sunday dinners kept staging Derek as the centerpiece. I brought roles. He brought promises wrapped in optimism. My updates were nice. His ideas were visionary, brave, destined. Sometimes love is applause. Sometimes it's an unpaid invoice. I drove home rehearsing conversations I never dared to start. The mortgage problem arrived dressed as a confession. Property taxes are climbing, my mother sighed over dishes. I set an automatic transfer, $2,800 every month. No contract, no timeline, just blood and a routing number. I told myself it was temporary and responsible. I told myself I was protecting our home and theirs. I told myself fairness would meet me at the finish. At night, I audited my life by hallway light. Spreadsheets glowed, and so did the questions I ignored. Was I helping or training them to need me? Was duty just another name for being useful? Work expanded, and so did our bids and crews. We finished a school gym, 3 kitchens, and a clinic. Clients shook my hand like I'd poured the slabs myself. I began to believe effort would buy me peace. Estate planning would be the ledger finally balancing. If you've been through this, you're not alone. You can love people and still be emptied by them. You can be generous and still be quietly erased. I kept paying, kept building, kept hoping the math worked. On a Friday, the attorney called for a meeting. I packed plans, wore my best shirt, and exhaled. Some doors opened to fairness, others opened to fire. I walked toward that conference room believing I'd be seen. The conference room smelled of polish and distance. Mahogany table. Neutral art. No warmth, no welcome. My parents sat stiff, Derek smoothing his expensive watch. The attorney shuffled papers, clearing his throat like thunder. "Alice," he said, "your parents made their wishes clear. Every asset, house, accounts, insurance, would pass to Derek alone. For me? A recipe book and baseball cards." The air folded in half. My pulse echoed. I looked at my father. His voice cracked. "You're successful. You've built a business. Derek needs more security." My mother added, brittle and bright, "You've always been so good at taking care of yourself." Those words sliced deeper than any mortgage. Strength had become my punishment, success my disqualification. The attorney kept listing numbers like they weren't mine already. 650,000 in property, 180,000 in investments, insurance totaling 300,000. Then the hidden bomb, a new mortgage. 275,000, payments 2,800 monthly. The same amount I had been transferring each month. They hadn't needed help with taxes. They had borrowed against a debt-free house to fund Derek. "An upscale sports bar," my mother announced proudly. "Great location, very promising." My stomach turned. I knew that script by heart. "And you expect me to keep covering those payments?" My father's throat cleared, eyes fixed on the table. "We would appreciate your continued support during this transition." Support? They had rebranded betrayal as gratitude. They had weaponized my love into their business plan. Derek finally spoke, rolling his eyes like I was dramatic. "It's not like you need their money." The sentence landed like glass shattering in my chest. Every sacrifice, every transfer, erased as if it never mattered. They didn't see me. They saw an ATM with lungs. I stood slowly, jacket on my arm, voice flat. "Thank you for your time, Mr. Wilson." My parents called after me, desperate and commanding. "Sunday dinner," they said. "Family discussion," they said. But family had left the room long before I did. The elevator hummed me downward while my phone buzzed. Texts from my mother, my father, Derek's silence. I stared at the screen until my reflection blurred. This wasn't grief for money. It was grief for recognition that never arrived. Betrayal isn't always loud. Sometimes it wears your last name and smiles. That day I stopped being their provider and started being their reckoning. I drove home and canceled every transfer without trembling. 2 clicks, and the pipeline to their plans ran dry. My mother texted, "Mortgage is due." I replied, "Not mine," then silenced the thread. At 9:17 a.m., calls stacked like falling bricks. From Dad, "Call immediately. This is unacceptable." From Mom, "Bank error? Please fix before 5. From Derek, "Nothing, just entitlement humming in absence." I opened a clean spreadsheet and built a ledger. Line by line, I wrote my history in numbers. Derek's tuition support, 14,000. Dad's surgery and aftercare, 32,475. Home repairs, roof, plumbing, electrical, 20,050. Emergency bailouts, almost 15,000 scattered like broken promises. Monthly transfers across years, 90,000 and change. Total, over 175,000 not including sleep. I called Margaret, my financial advisor, and locked down assets. Retainers paid. Accounts insulated. Personal and business clearly ring-fenced. I called Sarah, an attorney friend, and described the harassment. "Document everything," she said. "Consider a restraining order if needed." Then I called my parents from my office phone. "Transfers are canceled," I said. "Boundaries are in place." Dad's answer arrived sharp as a slammed door. "This childish behavior stops now. You have responsibilities." "I already fulfilled them 10 times over," I said. I listed the totals. He called them exaggerations. Gaslighting tried to rewrite math. Math refused to move. The campaign escalated sideways and below the belt. My mother phoned colleagues, hinting I was unstable, overspent, overwhelmed. Michael from another firm warned me over beers. She asked if stress made you irrational, he said. They weaponized worry to corrode my credibility at work. They didn't realize I'd already welded my reputation in steel. I drafted a concise timeline with receipts and statements. I shared it selectively with the extended family. Aunt Emma read it twice, then called everyone else. Narrative corrected, she texted me, a one-woman newsroom. Cousins stopped parroting pity and started asking hard questions. Without secrecy, manipulation withered under plain daylight. Meanwhile, the mortgage clock kept its indifferent rhythm. 2 missed payments triggered formal bank notices. Derek's sports bar sputtered on half-empty nights. He took a part-time job and tasted consequence. My parents ambushed me at a job site. Tears, threats, guilt, the entire family repertoire spilled out. I didn't perform this time. I set a boundary. Leave my workplace or I call security, I said. They left, stunned by the door that finally closed. That evening, I printed the ledger and signed it. Notarized truth, stamped and dated, for the inevitable narrative war. I folded fear into a small, silent square. Then I filed it where I keep unprofitable tools. Have you ever faced coordinated guilt dressed as concern? Tell me in the comments. You're not alone here. I slept through the first quiet night in years. Silence didn't accuse me. Silence congratulated me for staying. I had stopped their pipeline and started rebuilding my life on bedrock. Months passed before their letters replaced shouting. My father's handwriting, rigid and careful, filled a white page. He admitted what I had carried, what they had ignored. For years, we expected too much and gave too little. Your anger is justified, we are sorry. For the first time, apology arrived without an invoice attached. They sold the house, downsized, and learned to budget. My mother took a modest job at an elementary school. My father consulted part-time, humbled and quieter. Derek tasted failure, then structure, and finally responsibility. Life forced them into the adulthood they had delayed. I didn't rush forgiveness. I let it arrive slowly, like cautious spring after bitter winters. Coffee with Dad became weekly. My mother learned how to ask, not demand. Derek admitted jealousy, resentment, and the truth of entitlement. Meanwhile, I built more than contracts and payrolls. I built a life with Lucas, steady and sincere. He loved me for myself, not for what I carried. Our wedding was small, honest, and unburdened. My parents attended, not as creditors, but as family. Forgiveness didn't erase boundaries. It planted them firmly, visible, respected. I chose to give a down payment for their condo. Not duty, not obligation, but a gift I wanted to give. This time, gratitude replaced entitlement. Have you ever faced something like this? Tell me in the comments. If you have, you're not alone. The lesson carved itself deep. Strength isn't punishment, and love isn't a balance sheet. I am not valuable because I provide. I am valuable because I am here. I walked away as their provider, and returned as myself, unshaken. Before saying goodbye, if this story touched your heart, please give it a like, and share it with someone who needs to hear this today. Don't forget to subscribe for more true family betrayal stories. That reminds us we are stronger than we think.